This is the Unsweetened Truth with Kristen and Pucci, where we talk about everything but don't sugarcoat anything. Welcome back to the Unsweetened Truth Podcast with Kristen and Pucci. Today's episode is about burnout. How to spot it, how to figure out if you're going through it, and how to get out of it. Because I've burnt out one time specifically very, very badly in my life, which now looking back was a blessing because it forced me to change a lot of things about myself and my routine and everything. But I want to tell you a little bit about that story, and then we'll kind of go through some tips and tricks and things like that to get out of it. So you think you might be burnt out. You dread going to work. You dread waking up. You dread almost a little bit of everything, right? Like we're dreading social environments. Like all you want to do is just lay. Like you just feel like you are exhausted. And like you might not even be burnt out from work too. Like let's be very fair about that. For me, that's what happened because, well, that's not even true. We'll tell you about it. But you might be burnt out for a bunch of reasons. You could be burnt out because you're just like over socializing. You could be burnt out because you just don't have good boundaries. You could be burnt out because, whatever. But at the end of the day, burnout is very frequent. It's very common. I think it can hit people at any age stage of their life or their career. And usual signs, though, is that you just become very like disinterested and you are just exhausted all of the time. Maybe coupled with some anxiety, maybe coupled with some depression, maybe just sadness, lack of whatever. And to be clear, if you are experiencing anything in regards to like a mental health situation or crisis, go get help. Tell people that you're going through it, navigate that with someone that is a professional in that. But I feel for you. I have lived there, and it's a hard place to be hanging out. So burnout specifically, my opinion, my experience, burnout occurs from lack of good boundaries. So what I mean by that is we're saying yes to too much and no to not enough. We are allowing too much in when we should be having, a little bit of a wall up. It's almost like we have a window open and it should be a door, right, in our life. And I remember when I was experiencing burnout, like I just was saying yes to too much at work. I was running myself ragged with, networking events and social things. I was networking and I was at networking events late at night, and networking was usually coupled with not eating very well, plus drinking, wake up the next morning really early for work. You can imagine the type of, little wagon wheel, if you will, that I was on. And then I'd get to the weekends and then I would just be so stressed from the weekends. I'd be like, let's go out. And I'd go out Friday, I'd go out Saturday, and I would just be getting tons of things done. And looking back, I never was really choosing myself for anything. I was never really investing a lot of time into myself, into my body, into anything like that. I was just investing all of my time and my energy into everybody else. So I could even go as far as saying, I think burnout occurs from a lack of self-worth. I think when you don't really care for yourself or see the importance of taking care of yourself, you will experience burnout. So a couple things I just want you to be aware of is if you are resonating with this and you're like, Kristen, I am feeling burnt out. I feel like that's happening to me. I feel like I'm there right now. What do? I want you to just literally treat your body like it's sick. I want you to treat your body like it's sick. And what do you do when you're sick? You hydrate, try to eat very basic, nourishing foods, whatever it is that you can eat. Rest a lot. Watch some movies. Do things that just feel good. And that's it. Like, I don't want you don't drink alcohol when you're sick. You don't, well, hopefully not. You don't drink alcohol when you're sick. You're not, running crazy all over the place. You're not going out. You're not, working a ton and crazy. And I want to be very clear that you're not like rotting though. Like I want to be very clear that you're not rotting. You're not like sometimes when you're sick, you're like not showering for multiple days. You're not getting out of bed. Like I want to be very clear, but you want to treat your body like it's sick because it is. Your body is in overdrive. We are so entitled as a culture. We are so expectant that tomorrow next week, next year is guaranteed. And it's not. And so we just run our bodies into the ground thinking that they're just going to bounce back and they're going to be around forever. And I wish we could almost see inside of our bodies and inside of our brains sometimes, just what's happening in there. But things manifest on the outside. And we just think, okay, let me get this and let me get that. Let me get, and it's like, what is at its deep rooted core, what is going on? And I believe a lot of it is self-worth and boundaries. So I want you to treat your body like it's sick. And I want you to go back to the basics. Are we sleeping approximately 8 hours a night? I believe the older you get, the less sleep you need, but typically anywhere between 7 and 9 hours is pretty great. If you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, you are doing well. Now, I want to be clear about sleep. That does not mean that you're staying up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and then sleeping until 9 a.m. That is not healthy. That is not what I'm talking about. You need to have a healthy adult bedtime. You need to have a 9:30 to 10:30 bedtime. That would be my opinion. You need to have a 6 to 8 a.m. wake up. That's what you need to be doing. Go to sleep then, wake up then. You need to be moving your body. You need to be moving your body. And I'm not talking about that you need to go and do CrossFit or run a marathon. Go for a walk. Move your body. What are you eating? Are you not eating? There's a lot of people, there's so much I've learned about food going through this experience, food, supplementation, hydration, things like that, that we just we aren't giving our bodies our best shot because of the way that we are taking care of ourselves. So, for example, women, it's because that's what I am and that's what I know and that's the body I have to eat for and take care of. This whole I don't eat breakfast. Girl, you have a cortisol issue, okay? Go get it checked out. I'm not a doctor, but I've been spending a lot of time with a lot of doctors over the last 10 plus years of my life. Actually, honestly, my whole life. I was a very sick baby even. So I've been spending a lot of time with doctors. No, you need to be eating breakfast. And if you're not super hungry, I want you to try. I want you to eat a minimum, eat a little bit of fruit, eat a little protein, put something in your body. And be mindful of all the processed junk that we're eating, right? Like we're obsessed with protein now, but we're like, oh, I'll have a protein shake or eat a freaking steak, eat meat, eat something like that. If you want to supplement with that other stuff, that's great. But don't be eating highly processed food as all of your meals. That's not healthy. You're eating chemicals, you're eating junk, you're eating powder. Not good, not sustainable. Fine as supplementation. Coffee. How much coffee are we drinking? My issue when I was going through burnout, I was drinking nothing but coffee, maybe a sip of water, maybe at lunch, up until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was drinking coffee, 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 coffee. You wonder why you can't sleep? What's your caffeine intake? Be mindful of that. Alcohol is another thing. I learned so much about alcohol when going through my different health journeys. Alcohol, so they're like, okay, it gets out of your system in an hour. No, it doesn't. Hormonally and how your body works, it takes about 24 hours per drink to get out of your body. So here's some math for you. You have 3 drinks on a Wednesday at a networking event. It now takes Thursday, Friday, Saturday for those 3 drinks to come out. Except on Friday, you go out with friends and you have 2 more drinks. Now you've got 2 drinks in your system, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, you go out Saturday too? Oh, and then you have 2 more. So now we're pushed into next week. I did not know that. When I drastically changed my alcohol intake, how well it impacted my body from a sleep standpoint, my skin, my hair, my nails, my digestive system, everything like that. Oh my gosh, total game changer. Be mindful of the alcohol. Be mindful of caffeine. Working out, eating, sleeping. Who are we spending time with? Do you even like the people that you're spending time with? That was something that I was experiencing when I was going through burnout. It's like I felt like I had to be social because I couldn't say no, but they weren't even things I wanted to go to. Like I would be relieved if someone said, hey, plans aren't happening. I would be relieved. When we abandon our bodies like that, and we don't trust ourselves and we don't listen to our bodies. Like my body is tired. I know on a Friday, we were just talking about this before the podcast started. I don't like going out on a Friday. Like I don't really like a social situation on a Friday. I don't really like that. I feel like I worked really hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and all day Friday. I'm not really interested in going out on a Friday. I love going out on a Saturday though. I love going out on a Saturday. I think a Friday is a nice night to just relax and do what you need to do and whatever. And then, if you want to go have fun on Saturday, you can. You need to start implementing more boundaries with your week. You need to start implementing more boundaries with your time, with your week. Be careful that you just are living to work. You're supposed to be working to live. You're not living to work, okay? So I came up with some really, really good boundaries with my work week that you're welcome to adopt, but I find them to be very, very important. And I've really just paid attention to myself. Something that causes me a lot of anxiety and can burn me out very, very quickly is rushing. I don't do well when I'm rushing and my calendar is like overpacked with physical places that I need to go to. I had worked jobs that it was like a sales job that I was like 3 meetings a day. Here, rush. And I was just rushing from one place to the next, whatever. I found that my social battery gets depleted so quickly. So I have done a better job at limiting quality over quantity, limiting the number of social interactions and social things that I do throughout a week. Now, social is considered time with like networking events or different things like that that aren't friend related. Even things that are friend related, I only really allow myself like one a weekend because I like my alone time. I like to recharge. I like to pour into myself. I like a clean house. I like being home and taking care of what I have and what I love and laying with my dog and just relaxing. I love it. So on Mondays, though, this is really important. On Mondays, I am in my office every single day. I don't go out to a meeting. I don't go out to lunch. I don't go out to dinner. I don't do anything like that. Mondays are just I find it as like a good on-ramp to the week. Mondays are the time I check in with my teams. Everybody has meetings, we're good. So Mondays, that's what I'll do. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm like hitting it hard. Now, hitting it hard to me now is very different than it used to be. I don't usually start my actual workday till about 9. That doesn't mean that I'm not sitting at my desk. I usually am sitting out at my desk at least an hour, hour and a half before I actually start working. But nobody is getting my physical attention until 9. And then meetings can happen from 9 till about maybe 2. My brain is not helpful after 1 or 2 p.m. It's not good. I'm not happy. I'm cranky. I'll give short answers. My brain is shot. When my brain is tired, I've had decision fatigue. I'm done. I know this about myself. I need to stop working. So things that are prior to 9, they can be things that are for me, catching up on whatever. Now doesn't also include that like I go to the gym in the morning or I go to Pilates in the morning or I clean up my house I always pick myself in the morning. That's something that's really, really important. I think you always need to pick yourself in the morning. What I had done prior in my life when I was burnt out is I would be working till, late at night the night before, go to a networking event, and then I wake up the next morning. And like if I had to be at work at 8 and I knew I had a 30-minute drive, I would wake up at like 6:45. And I wake up at 6:45, I'd shower real quick, maybe slap some makeup on, put an outfit on, and run out the door. I would rush. And then from the beginning of the morning, I just rushed to get into work, rushed once I was in work, and then I didn't pack lunch or anything for myself. So then I'd rush out to eat, have a social hour, rush back, whatever. So much rushing. I don't do that anymore. I pick myself in the morning. I sit down and ease myself into my day. And then I hit it hard on all the meetings that I have to do. I eat lunch every single day. I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. If I miss a meal, something's wrong. So I will do that. And then come Friday is kind of like a catch-all day. Friday, I know myself as well and my team. Our brains are fried. We worked really hard all week. Nothing big and super impactful should be happening on a Friday. Of course, if we have a big client meeting or something that has to happen, we'll typically put it in the morning. But I like to, as a company, we just do noon on. We're off. Go away. Go to your weekend. Go have fun. I'm not getting anything good from anybody afternoon on a Friday. I'm not. So our Friday mornings, we're typically just catching up on things. What do I need to spend time on? Fridays are very popular for me too, for golfing, clay shooting, things like that. And then the weekends, I'm picking like maybe one social thing. But something else that was really helpful is that you pick yourself first and you spend time with yourself first is food prepping. I spend a ton of time on the weekends food prepping, Saturday or Sunday, depending what I have for social, whatever. is food prepping. Sundays, I don't like to leave my house at all. I used to watch church a lot at home. If I went to church, fine. But I usually just like to stay home on Sundays. I don't like anything social on Sundays. I think it's good to just relax, pick yourself, choose yourself, and then go into your work week. And what I noticed just even from telling you guys this schedule that I have is I found that I needed to start choosing myself. What do I actually want to do? And I would like be very honest with people in ways that I hadn't been before. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go there. I'm not really interested in that. No, I don't really like you. Like, I started really honoring myself and honoring my opinions and honoring myself. And it was amazing how quickly the anxiety started kind of just coming off and the burnout started coming off. And I'm very, very careful with my boundaries now and where I'm spending my time and who I'm spending my time with. And I would totally recommend that for anybody who's maybe experiencing it. How are you trying to build a burnout preventing culture in your business? Great question. So, because I have experienced it and I know what can happen, I take a lot of steps as a business owner and as a leader to make sure my team does not experience burnout. I'm very quick at picking up the signs early, so that's good. And what I typically try to do is what do we feel like is burning us out? I get curious about the situation. What's going on? How are we feeling? Is there stuff going on at home? Is there stuff going on at work? Is there stuff going on, let's talk about burnout. What's happening? And then I go into problem solving mode. Like, because sometimes I don't know for a bit that somebody's burnout and then they let me know that they're burnout. And from that moment though, when they, tell me this or they're feeling a certain way, it's like, okay, what's causing that? What is causing that? How can we eliminate that? How can we eliminate it? I want them to rest. Now, I also want them to be doing their best work because I'm not going to get, just like from a logical perspective too, remove all the emotions out of it. If my employees are burnt out, they're not giving me their best work and they're not giving our clients their best work. So that doesn't benefit anybody. Like these people that think burning their employees out is like, no, it's not going to work. Long, sustainable happiness and healthiness and good work is going to come from a balanced employee. So same thing with Mondays with my whole team. Nobody's going to meetings on Mondays. Everybody is using their day in. I am very flexible on start times and end times. I trust that my employees know what they need to do and they get it done and they need to get it done. I'm very big on, like even happened yesterday, we were rushing from one meeting to another meeting, which it wasn't rushing. It was the way that the schedule was just made, but I made sure everybody is eating. Everybody needs to eat lunch. Everyone needs to eat lunch. And that's important. We need to make sure that we're eating in the morning, eating at lunch. So I'm always making sure that I'm feeding my team. If I am taking them somewhere, it's important for us to, and sometimes we'll work through lunch or we'll talk about something or we'll recap a meeting or whatever. And we'll do that obviously over our meal, but I'm making sure that my team is fed. We talk a lot about stacking meetings, what our calendars look like. Like I said, on Fridays, I'm making sure that I just send people home. I'm very flexible with time off. We just have a small team. I feel like the only boundary I really have on time off is that the whole team can't be off at the same time. But there was a time that happened and I just shut the whole company down for a week because I was just like, no one's working. So we're okay. So I think I'm just very mindful about how humans are and what humans' bodies need. And I just pay attention. I pay attention to my team. For example, if an employee, this is a sign. If an employee, when I have a meeting with them every single week, looks like they're not getting ready for their day in any capacity. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to be full blown and dressed because our whole company is remote. But if they don't even look like they showered that morning, right? They just kind of rolled out of bed and they just went right to work. That's a sign to me that it's okay, hey, why are we doing that? Is it the amount of work you have? Is the workload? I'm always asking questions about workload and how much do we have? Can we do our best? Because again, if you have a ton of work that you need to get done and you don't feel like you have enough time to do it, you're either not going to get it all done or you're going to skimp on it, which is not what I want. That's not your best work. So I'm always asking do we need to sub anything out? How do we feel on this? What's your schedule like? Do you feel like you can accomplish it in this period of time? I try to do realistic deadlines while also not backing off of the fact that it needs to be good work and it needs to be quick work. We are definitely we do good work and we do work very quickly, not the cheap people. So that's important to me to make sure that my employees feel that way. There's also been times in the past too that an employee may be having something emotional going on. And I also know as a human and as a business owner and a leader, I'm not going to get my best work out of this employee while they're emotional. And they can't give me their best work and they can't show up as their best selves when they're emotional. Why don't you just take a break? Take a break. Go take a nap. Like when they're sick, that's a good example. They're sick, work from the couch. Work from the couch. Make sure you take a nap today. I just think that's so funny. Like I just think back to like my time prior to being a business owner and I'm like, I don't know that any boss would ever have told me to take a nap. You know what I mean? Like it's just very funny. But that's important because if they sleep and they rest, they either, if I burn them out, they're going to be sick for twice as long. If not, they will feel better and they'll be able to rest. Like, I think good employees don't enjoy being burnt out. They don't enjoy being sick. They don't enjoy being like good employees and people who are motivated and whatever. They like working. They like feeling purpose. They like having something to do. But they want to do it for someone who obviously cares about them as well. So there's a lot of things that I do to try to make sure that my team doesn't feel burnt out because I also recognize that we're fast paced. We have high profile clients that we're working for. We have a lot of work going on. So I'm very tuned in, paying attention. How are we doing? How are we feeling? Do you have too much? Do you have too little? Okay, you have not a ton right now. Maybe we can help this other employee. So there's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that occur. But I would say if you want to prevent your team from having a burnout type culture, pay attention to them. They are humans. It's how humans work. And I stay away from this hustle culture, this hustling, this start at 6 a.m., go till 6 p.m. I've literally told my employees before, stop working. Put your laptop down. You're done. Why are you still working right now? Well, I have more things I need to get done. That's okay. You always have more things you need to get done. You need to stop right now and you need to go and do whatever. So sometimes your employees don't have boundaries for themselves. And that's where you come in as a leader and as, a business owner and you go, hey, it's okay for you to stop right now. No one is expecting you to work till 9 p.m. Obviously, there are times that emergencies take place, websites go down, whatever it is, and we have to work later on times that we weren't initially expecting to. But being mindful of your team really is the key thing. So hopefully today we learned a little bit about being burnt out, what can cause it, what it can feel like, and how we're going to navigate it and get out of it. And again, if you're someone who feels like you're on the verge of this, you're extra irritable, extra touchy, you want to quit your job. One day you want to quit your job. One day you want to be in your job. Everything around you is annoying. I would say just pause, take a breather, isolate yourself for a little bit, pour a ton of energy into yourself. And I'm not just talking one day, you go get a pedicure and you call it a day. No. Long-term changes, diet, exercise, mental health, prayer, cleaning, just taking care of who you are, what you have is so, so important. And that will really set the stage of once you start feeling more self-worth and you feel better about yourself, you're going to be feeling a lot more inclined to protect it. So hopefully that was helpful today. I love talking about this topic. Be happy to talk about it again. So if you have any questions or any thoughts, feel free to reach out to me. Instagram, LinkedIn, all of the above. But thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. And I hope to hear from you guys soon.